Morningstar, I'm Christian Charret. National Bank Investments recently launched a new mutual fund called NBI Unconstrained Fixed Income. It's a global bond fund managed by renowned fixed income specialist Bill Gross. To talk about the new fund and the role that global bonds can play in an investor's portfolio, I'm joined today by Annamaria Testani. She is Vice President of National Sales at National Bank Investments. Annamaria, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So for our viewers who aren't too familiar with his work, can you tell us who is Bill Gross and why this is a big deal?
Absolutely. Mr. Gross basically has an interesting background, 42 years experience in the industry. Some of you may remember him where he co-founded PIMCO in 1971, and he really grew that company to an incredible size. I remember the total return bond fund was over $270 billion worth. In 2014, he left and joined Janus, where basically here he's managing his mandate and a testament to his experience. When you look at his experience, how do you define it? Well, he's won the Morningstar Fixed Income Manager of the Decade between 2000 and 2009. He also won the Fixed Income Manager of the Year for, I believe it was 1998, 2000, and 2007. And again, he was also the first portfolio manager inducted in the Fixed Income Analyst Society's Hall of Fame. This is not someone that is just a specialty in one area. This shows someone that has an incredible amount of experience through a variety of different economic systems, political systems, presidencies. He's seen it all.
And can you describe what his investment style will be on the new fund?
Sure. As the name pretty much describes it, it's an unconstrained. What we're trying to do is we're trying to re-give back flexibility to portfolio managers. Today, many of the mandates within mutual funds are guided by what we call the IPS, the Investment Portfolio Statement. What that does is it dictates where and how a manager can invest in either countries, sectors, or even companies. When you're saying unconstrained, you're basically saying, we call it a global fund. Well, it really is a universe. Anywhere in the universe, we want him to take his macroeconomics that he does really well, and he does something differently. He actually commingles it extremely well from a microeconomics, so bottom up. When you put those two together, he then has to decide where is the most opportunistic investment, regardless of the country. He decides that. At the end of the day, he's preserving capital, mitigating risk, and more importantly, trying to get the best return with those two factors in place.
Now, obviously, for a manager who's had this kind of longevity, his returns must have been pretty impressive. What can you tell us about that?
So as you know, we're actually just launching the fund right now this year. So basically, we don't have performance numbers to show anyone for what he's done here with us. However, if we go back to the previous funds that he's managed elsewhere in the United States, what you're seeing is a consistent outperformance versus the benchmark and his peers. How does he do that? Well, he does it through his process. And how can we say this? Like, how come we feel comfortable in giving these statements? Well, the awards are a testament to that. The awards are based on a very, very diligent process of evaluating each portfolio manager. They don't just evaluate on the style. They actually evaluate them on the results. And his results are spoken clearly, as you can see with all the awards and attestments to his overperformance.
And let's talk a little bit about the global bond asset class. Why do people need global bonds?
I think we need to understand that at the end of the day, it is about the risk management of a portfolio. And when you look at the Canadian landscape, you cannot discount fixed income. It is a necessary requirement for many people's portfolios, right? It makes it, at the end of the day, I think once I read a stats where it was 60 or 65% of Canadians are balanced. Well, in order to be balanced, you need to have a fixed income component. Unfortunately, though, in Canada, we have a high percentage of Canadians that are overly concentrated in a home country bias. In other words, they're limiting themselves only to Canada. Now, what's interesting about Bill is Bill can do this. He can actually concentrate his whole portfolio in Canada if that is the right place to be in the world to maximize the return for the risk. But if not, we've given that flexibility back to a very mature, experienced portfolio manager.
And what are some of the risks that are specific to that asset class?
Well, it is global, right? So at the end of the day, when you're looking at something that's global, there are a multitude of factors that you don't get within your own country, right? There's credit risk, there's political risk, there's economic. There are many more factors than just the one economy you have to work at. Again, we have to go back to the experience. Most managers tend to either be really great macro managers and others really focus on a bottom up, every country or every kind of sort of investment one at a time. His models indoctrinate both together. And he does it successfully well. So I think to pigeonhole him into just saying it's one style Not really. He's unconstrained. And we want to respect that's what's making him great. And we want to give him an opportunity to allow Canadian investors to participate in his style.
It'll be interesting to see how he does here in Canada.
Absolutely.
Annamaria, thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
And for Morningstar, I'm Christian Charret. Thank you for watching.